chances are you probably don't know what this game is about. But if you grew up with Five Nights at Freddy's on the iPhone or tablet, you probably know a thing or two about this game. This game is called Zoolax Nights Evil Clowns, and it's made by, of course, Zoolax Inc. And this game came out for iOS, Android, and PC in October 2015. Now, a funny story about this game is that this was probably one of my favorite fan games ever. Probably for the fact that this is the only FNAF fan game that was actually decent quality on iOS. I mean, I literally made so many videos about this game with some very questionable quality.
Hello everybody, it's heyitsCorbz here, and this is my first episode of the Revisit series. So, yeah, this time I actually have face cam. It's pretty weird.
I realized over the years that this game had begun to devolve into obscurity, and I wanted to check back on this game and give it the light of day, and see how it holds up today. I want to dive deep into the story of this game, the atmosphere and art, and see how this game was received. So buckle in, because we're going to dive deep into Zoolax Nights and truly see if this game was a hidden gem or a crappy FNAF clone. Now, trying to get gameplay is almost impossible because guess what? The game doesn't exist anymore. Yeah, that's fucking right, of course. Right when I want to do a video about this game, it magically just disappeared. Now, I did find some alternative sources to play this game, but... Are you having fun?
I'm having so much fun.
Okay, so I kinda lied. There is one more place you can play this game. It's on the Google Play Store, so... What? What in the fuck is this? Wait a minute. You gotta be fucking kidding me, right? How do we go from this to this? Like, why do all the bugs look like fucking stock photos? And why is there a live system? Oh, well, no fucking shit, of course. Dude, I can't see shit on the cameras. What the hell is going on? Where's everybody at? Look at this bullshit gameplay. So, there's Loogie right there. There's one with the clowns sitting on the fucking thing. I go back to the camera, or out of the camera, and I'm fucking dead. That is some fucking bullshit. Why is everything low quality? Why is there a live system? Why are the cameras in batshit quality? What's with the UI? Well, I know why. It's because he wants you to pay for the full fucking game for $3. It blows my mind, like, what were they fucking thinking? I mean, this shit looks like a fucking FNAF ransomware video at this point. I mean, to all this to say, this is radically different than what the old version of the game used to be. There was none of this, you gotta pay for the HD version and all that. It was just, it's like the same quality, but you get one night and you have to pay for the full game, which is understandable. It's against Scott's wishes for fan games, but it's understandable. Now, this is just fucking clickbait. Tell me why they show all of the old screenshots from, like, the full game on, like, the free version. Then you buy it, or get it, you go to it, and it's this piece of shit. That is some fucking bullshit if I've ever seen that in my life. Whew. Anyways, let's finally get into this game. In Zoolax Nights, you play as a newly hired guard to a newly bought antique shop by a research company called Zoolax Inc. How meta is that, right? Making your own game studio to be the focal point of the game? Hell, even the phone guy in this game is named after the same guy who made this game. Now, speaking of the phone guy, he guides us on what our job entails and what to watch out for. This being the sentient clown dolls that are referred to as the cursed dolls, or as Amazon store page calls them, evil clowns. It states that the evil clowns are cursed by fearful and mysterious magical forces. Now, this alone sounds pretty broad and generic, but this alone makes me have a theory I have about the clowns and make a lot of sense. But that's a whole other thing I'll bring up at the end of this video. Throughout the main nights of this game, nothing out of the ordinary happens besides new cursed artifacts being activated, such as a thermostat that goes up and down on its own, glowing bone symbols that you have to match in the camera feed, a cursed painting that you have to hide with fog, but that's just some of the things that I'll get into more later. With that, on night 6 for some reason, a lot of the company scientists somehow go missing. It's a bit interesting, but shit really hits the fan on the last night when Bo, the phone guy, says that he has sealed the antique shop with you inside of it, because somehow they can't seem to contain the evil clowns. Who in their right mind seals an obviously hostile building with one of their employees inside of it? At this point, it just makes the game just pure comedy, if it was intended or not. The game ends with a to-be-continued screen with guys in hazmat suits walking. Again, it comes out of complete nowhere. But I guess it somewhat makes sense because I guess us being the guard, we're being extracted from the building. Now, with the whole to be continued screen, it makes no sense because in the sequel to this game, the clowns are now on a spaceship for some reason, with us having the ability to drive it. Yeah, I don't think I'm talking about that game. Having known Zoolax Knight's story, the art and atmosphere defines what the game is. From the foggy entrance to the sewer system, to the open and empty hallways filled with medieval artifacts, Zoolax Knight's art design honestly carries most of the game. Something about the old medieval museum-looking environment gives off a sense of the unknown and something of a dark magical feel. But that last point might just be me. To complement the feel of the antique shop, the ambience that plays throughout the game reinforces the sense of a dark magic and otherworldly vibe, with the sounds of gas mixed in with a simple yet haunting piano tune. Moving on with that in mind, the designs of the clowns are admittedly a little over the top. I feel like the clowns' designs are a bit forced to be scary, but I guess in the lore they are cursed by something evil, so it makes some sense. One thing I do like about the clowns is that each one of them looks and feels completely different from one another. Pogo is fat with extremely sharp teeth, Loogie is extremely tall and is deemed to be a jester, and Sally is the only girl clown. The final creature isn't a clown, but it's some sort of pig creature doll looking thing. It's hard to explain what it is, but I'm going to assume it's made from the same stuff as the clown dolls, because they give us similar vibes to them. One thing I really like about the art direction in this game is how the locations and sprites look like they're hand painted. I can't tell if this was intentional or not, but it gives off a really unique look to the game, and I've never seen this in any kind of FNAF related game before. Speaking of the art direction, looking at the Zoolax's videos on their YouTube channel and some of their other games, Bo, the main guy who runs this stuff, he has an extreme artistic ability when it comes down to making environments. I mean, just look at this. The attention to detail is unreal, and from what I can make out, this is one guy coding and designing these games. Now, going back to Zoolax Nights, the attention to detail is there. No room feels lazily made, and it really does feel like a weird looking antique shop. Now, to be fair, I don't think the staff working here would just let bloody handprints stay on the surfaces like that. That's one problem I have with some of the art in this game. It feels a bit forced to tell the audience that, hey, this is a scary game. Kind of like what I said with the designs of the clowns. The voice lines the clowns have are kind of corny. I can't tell if these are stock voices or original voice lines, but hearing Sally say "we can play forever" for the 10th time when she moves to a different location, it gets pretty repetitive. And it brings me back to the point of just being forced to be scary. But I do like the effort that was put into this game. Keep in mind, this game came out in 2015 when FNAF was at its prime, and fan games were something new and people were craving. Having this game come out on mobile was a crazy concept. But usually, if you wanted to play a FNAF game, or any kind of fan game, you have to get a PC because most of the games were on GameJolt. Surely the reputation of this game is amazing, right? Well, it's hard to say. Looking at the Google Play Store review section, the reception is almost split evenly down the middle between it being top tier or bottom tier dog shit. Honestly, looking at the first comment from this guy just perfectly encapsulates how I feel about the most recent update. It is horrible, but I'm getting off track. To be honest, a lot of the criticism about this game is understandable. Scott Cawthon says specifically for fan games to be free to play, because obviously it's Scott's creative property. However, I guess people figured out that if they changed their game's name to something like this, or hell, even this, and they say that it's FNAF inspired, they can just charge money for it. This is in the same vein as Zoolax Nights. At one point of this game being out, it was called Five Nights at the Zoolax Shop, in which I believe the whole game is free to play, but it had ads in it. Then at some point later, they changed the name to Zoolax Nights, added a one-night demo, and the rest was paid. Because of this, and many of the research as the jump scares not being scary at all, and the phone guy not being helpful, one thing I wanted to bring up about the phone guy real quick that always irked me about this game is that he tells the player how to survive, but not in the game's universe. But what do I mean by this? For example, on night 1, Bo says to view the cameras, click on the bottom right corner of your screen. This, in my opinion, breaks the immersion of the game. To be honest, I have a couple of tiny changes, like the phone calls having more immersion, better quality, and most importantly being free to play. This would probably be a classic FNAF game, unique for mobile devices. It's sad to see that not a lot of people remember this game, because I do feel like in a lot of areas this game is amazing. It's just that it's being held back by monetary decisions, even now with the most recent update, making the free version even worse to pretty much make people buy the full game. With all that being said, I really think that this game is a hidden gem, that it was at one point worth checking out. The art style and atmosphere is amazing, the story is questionable but straightforward. The last thing I'll go over is the gameplay. Now, if I'm being honest, the gameplay is okay at best. The main defense for survival is hiding underneath the desk, which deters two of the clowns, Loogie and Sally. Surprisingly, Pogo's mechanic is a bit different, but only on a cosmetic level. To get rid of him, you gotta use the fountain in front of you to scare him away. Yeah, that's right, water scares him. What kind of pussy-ass killer clown is this? Anyway, the function of the fountain and desk is practically the same because all you do is click one button and it makes the clowns go away. Now, this sounds pretty easy, but as I said in my little rant, they have RNG movement, meaning that on a random chance of movement, the clowns can go to any camera or entry point. Meaning, if for example, one of the clowns can be across the whole building, then after one movement chance, they can be right at your door. Now, I'm assuming Zoolax's reason behind the RNG movement is to make the experience more challenging, but in my opinion, it comes off as kind of bullshit. Keep in mind, there are so many other things the player has to worry about, especially in the later nights, and having to check where the clowns are every time they move can cost you a run. Anyways, that's how the clowns work in the game. Now, moving on to the main gimmick of Zoolax Nights, which is the cursed artifacts that activate each night of the game. Starting with night 1, you have to watch a painting that can move pieces of itself on its own. If the painting is not intended to, you die. Moving on to night 2, a cursed thermostat gets activated. The gimmick of the thermostat is that you have to maintain the temperature rising above 35 degrees or dropping below 5 degrees. Now, if you don't pay attention to the thermostat, your power starts draining rapidly. I don't fully understand why the temperature affects the power, but that's beyond me. On night 3, a light is reactivated on camera 8 that reveals another cursed painting. Now, this mechanic is ripped straight out of Five Nights at Freddy's 2. Well, what do I mean by this? Well, in the lore, the company scientists counteracted this curse of this painting by using a fog machine. Now, going to Cam 8, there's a wind-up function like the music box. Now, there's a whole stereotype about music box mechanics being in FNAF fan games and how that shows unoriginality of these games and developers. However, I think in Zoolax Night, it's done okay. Because there are multiple of these puzzles you have to watch out for, like the ones I've just mentioned. All these puzzles are spread out through the game's environment. There is nothing new on Night 4, but Night 5 brings, in my opinion, the most tedious puzzle ever, and I also think this is where I draw the line for the amount of puzzles to maintain in the game. This puzzle is a hologram bone matching thing that I mentioned earlier. In a gameplay sense, it isn't practical. Think about it like this. You got the thermostat going down below 5 degrees, and your power starts draining rapidly. You start to panic. While that's happening, the alarms are going off because you got the hologram puzzle and the painting puzzle that are undone, while there are clowns in your office. By the time you know it, you're dead. You see where I'm coming from? Not to mention the hologram puzzle itself requires you to switch between the two map systems to match two sets of glowing symbols, slowing down the gameplay even more. With all that in mind, the gameplay loop is a bit of a mess, but there is a strategy for this. Now, it just requires you to scroll through the office almost the whole run, and because that's the main thing that's going to guarantee you from failing or succeeding in run. But all in all, that's it. Zoolax Nights, for what it is, isn't half bad. It's honestly really good in some regards, such as the art direction and atmosphere. It's just the thing that's holding it back from being a classic is just how it was handled monetarily. If the game was free to play and retained its HD quality like in the paid version, there'd be more videos about this game. Anyways, with that in mind, I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. Sorry that this took like almost a month for me to do. It wasn't because it was hard to do, it's just I took a break, school, holidays, and I just didn't want to get burnt out on YouTube. So I'll try to be more consistent with videos. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like, comment, subscribe. Yeah, see ya. Peace.